Hi friends! Welcome to Wednesdays with Whitney. I'm Whitney, and today I am here with my operations manager, Amanda Arnold, and
Hello.
she is going to share all sorts of tips and tricks for being organized and maybe share a little behind the scenes knowledge of Ivory House, brand launch, hummingbirds, all of the things that the pen and the ink metaphor that I'm searching for right now that I can't find. Anyway, it's actually like the keyboard. You are the keyboard behind these businesses. So let's get into you. And so, official title, when I met you, you introduced yourself as a virtual assistant.
Yes.
So what does that mean to you?
So virtual assistant can mean a lot of things. There are virtual bookkeepers, there are virtual email managers, social media managers. It's a lot of things. And to be honest, I've been a lot of things. But when we met, I was kind of transitioning from a social media content writer, which I'm good at technical content writing, not so good at the really flashy, fluffy stuff. I can write all about science. For science social media handles, I got it covered. It's me. But not so much the really fluffy, feel-good stuff. Yeah. So I was kind of transitioning from social media, which I like, but it wasn't my niche, to organization, which is definitely, that's my niche. That's where I belong. So for me, virtual assistant is I'm the person basically running I want to be the one pulling all the strings and running the operation behind the scenes.
So like when I think of you in my life, I think about all of the scheduling you do. And for me, scheduling in my calendar is one of the most complex things about my life.
Yes.
And I think we can talk a little bit about that. But I already had a philosophy in place about my scheduling. And so when you came on board, I'm a calendar micromanager, and if anybody's ever seen my calendar, it's many different colors and it's very packed. And so we really had to be very much on the same page about what I can do, what I can't do. She had to learn all about my shoots and all about where does brand launch fit in and where do events fit in and where do my assistants fit in. And I mean, there was a ton of moving pieces. Did any of that surprise you when
I
you
was
came
just
on
shocked at the sheer volume. The sheer volume shocked me. I think the first couple times I would pull up your calendar, it was almost a little anxiety producing. Just all the places you needed to be and just figuring out how I have to Google places and figure out how long is it going to take Whitney to drive from this appointment to make sure it's all going to work. And that was definitely, it was kind of a trial by fire. And
it is a trial by fire. Sometimes it'll just be I need to be in these 5 places in a day and serve these clients and have these meetings and what makes the most sense. And I also need to get my oil changed. These are the things. And I think that it was when I found you, and we actually met because you signed up for an extra session at Archarium. And I remember asking you, we just jived really well. And I've been looking for somebody, and guys, I don't know if you've ever released your inbox to another human, but that is a vulnerable place. And I know that Amanda gets all of my correspondence from every single email. There is not an email in my life that doesn't come through you. So there's a ton of trust there. And I just knew when I met you, I was like, she can read my emails. I'd be okay with that. So other than getting all of the juicy tidbits of my life, when you think about organizing, what are some of the tools that you have implemented when working with me and other clients to stay organized? Because I don't know about this.
We use Asana is a big one. But one thing I actually found because of Whitney's email inbox was if you didn't know, when I came on board with Whitney, there was 186,000 emails in her inbox. Fun tidbit. So I started implementing a program called Clean Inbox, and it pulls you can automatically pull all the emails that come from a no reply email address. So a lot of junk. I can pull those and delete them all in one big swoop, or I can pull anything older than 5 years and automatically archive. And you can do all of these quick cleanup things that tame the chaos. I still do not have Whitney down to 0. Which is my ultimate goal.
Oh,
but
cool.
I'm down to like 5,000 out of 186. So
there was a moment when I was at like 160 or something.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at my phone because that number, that huge number was on my phone every day. And I just learned to ignore it. So for those of you who are at inbox 0 and you're panicking right now, I understand. But like it didn't panic me because I had a system it was mostly that I have an insane memory.
Yes.
So like that is actually, I think, the thing that has saved me over the years. I'm not incredibly organized. I had a lot of systems for you to walk into. Yeah. But most of it is my absolute insane memory that keeps me.
And for me, I'm the opposite. I do not have a great memory. I have mommy brain at its finest. And so I even had to start doing Asana tasks for myself to tell Whitney about something she needed to know out of her inbox. So
all of that. And we've really used Asana a ton because there's, Ivory House specifically is a really high volume client list. So the amount of clients I serve every month it's a lot. So we really have gotten deep into Asana with what are the tasks that come up, what's weekly, what does each and every client work through, what does only these clients work through, so that Megan and Amanda and myself are all on the same page and we can go to this Asana task list and be really specific. Because otherwise my crazy memory brain would be like, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? And there's nothing more, I think, first of all, there's nothing I want to do less than check in on like not menial tasks, but like the things that have to be done all the time.
Yes.
Because like that doesn't feel good for anybody. So just us coming to a consensus was so beautiful. It just lifted a huge weight. What are some of those other systems that you've loved implementing?
This is not an Ivory House system, but Trello will always be my first love. It's kind of my brain on paper, actually. It's the way it's set up.
Yeah.
And so I do still use Trello for a few clients. I've switched mainly to Asana just because 90% of my life is now in Asana. But yeah, Trello. I also use SmarterQueue for social media scheduling, and that one is really handy, especially if you have a lot of posts that are going to be similar. Like when I do social media for a blog, you can re-queue different posts and change up the wording, and it's really, really quite a good system.
Cool.
So
I love that.
Those are my big ones.
Yes. Well, and as Amanda came on with Ivory House, and then quickly we realized that we needed assistance in the brand launch inbox and the Hummingbird inbox, because something that Emily and I are really working on in 2020 is, we love to create big things, but every single one of these big things needs huge systems to go with them. Yeah. And they are all right now very meeting intensive. So you've come on in all capacities with that. What is something that you realized about brand launch and Hummingbirds after you came on? Was there something that you were like, oh, I had no idea?
I was just surprised at the amount of inquiries behind the scenes. Like I was not expecting to have to put so many people on your calendar for brand launch. That was really surprising to me, and surprising in a good way. But it just was something that had not been on my radar, and so I was already having to schedule all of these things for Whitney for Ivory House, and then to figure out how to fit 5 or 6, sometimes more, other calls for brand launch in the mix.
Well, I would say that you've become a gatekeeper for me too.
Yeah,
because
I protect your time.
Protect my time and my calendar, because I'm not that good at saying no. And so it's really great to have another person on board, because I can say my rules, I can say my boundaries, and honestly, a lot of people now are like, can I get on your calendar and we'll be talking in person? I'm like, go through Amanda, because if I do that in person, either I take my own time, like the time that I've said, hey, this is going to be mine, but if I send them through you, then I know that you're going to follow the rules I've set up, because I need that alone time. I mean, I do have I have a really people intensive calendar, and I need a lot of alone time in order to do that. And I found for years I wasn't giving myself that. And so Amanda helps me with that. I'm really grateful. So are there any, let's talk about Frugal Arnold Family.
Okay.
So this is Amanda's personal brand. This is like what she's really into. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so Frugal Arnold Family, which there's a website coming very soon. I haven't quite mapped out all of what that's going to be, but my husband and I started on a big debt-free journey a couple years ago, and now we are very intense. We have a huge goal we're going to smash in the next 12 months, and part of that has also been minimizing what we waste in our house, because if you're not, for instance, we cloth diapered our babies. Well, we still cloth diaper. I have a 2-year-old. And because of that, we didn't have to pay for disposable diapers. We don't use paper towels, and so we don't have that expense. I use cleaning rags. And so just basically I'm taking what we have done with our family to reduce our waste, to become debt-free, and I'm turning that into a resource for families. So
just super excited. And these little things,
Yes.
like paper towels. Like,
Yes.
how did that even become a thing? You're like, oh, okay, I could just use like rags and wash them.
Yep. I just one day announced to my husband I wasn't buying paper towels anymore, and if he wanted to, he could buy them, and he hasn't yet. So I guess he's okay with it.
He got on board.
But just little changes in your life that can, one, save you money to help you achieve your financial goals, and two, just help you be a better steward, waste less, reduce your carbon footprint. So I'm really excited for what that's going to become. I haven't quite mapped out all the fine details, but it's coming. So you can follow at Frugal Arnold Family on Instagram, and that when the website goes live, I can announce that. So
I think the beautiful thing about starting any big project is that the more it gets out there, the more people ask questions, and the more it actually becomes your followers project.
Yes.
And I found that with every business that I've started, which seems to just be a lot, is that, Ivory House started as one thing, but it became something completely different based on who kept showing up and what they kept asking for. And I think that that's something that we're always talking about is, okay, we know the clients that have shown up for us over and over and over again. And a lot of those clients, they span Brand Launch and Hummingbirds, and it's just this one big, beautiful community. So those are the people where I'm like, okay, what can we do to serve them? How are we showing up for them? How are we creating specifically for them? Because, for me, it's like, when we create something, we don't want to live in a bubble. And I think finding people that come on board with that, like I knew when you came on board that you were also on board with that mission of the client service, and the client doesn't run the business, but the client is a huge driver in where the business goes. And as a business owner, I get to be really reactive and reflective of that.
Yeah.
So,
and that's one of the things that drew me to you in the first place was just that experience of when I booked my shoot, and from everything that it followed, I pretty much had you were kind of on my short list of people I wanted to somehow work with in the future, and so that was part of that, which is the experience with the oh yeah,
I put it
a short list.
I put a little star next to her name, and it said VA, call her, and then but it was like 5 months later.
Yeah, it was at least a couple.
Yep.
So I think my shoot was in April, and then I came on board July. So yeah.
Well, I don't want to speak for you, but are you taking new clients right now?
Only for email organization.
So, I wanted to talk about that. So I had the beautiful relief of, getting my email inbox down to like 100, and there was one day where it was 160. We need another refresh.
There are currently 9 unread emails in Whitney's inbox. It's awesome.
Great. So that's excellent. But if you are looking for that kind of like clean out service, call Amanda. She can get that done for you. It felt really good.
Yeah.
I felt very cleansed.
I get rid of all the junk and basically archive anything old, get rid of the junk, put things into a user-friendly folder system, and then that way you just it'll help calm your mind, or at least for me it calms my mind when I don't have 500 unread emails. It just It helps keep you on task if you're not getting distracted by all of that.
All the extra.
Yeah, all the extra.
Like, is this real or is this not real? I never know.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is something, because you have the full, like, you know what's happening in my life, which means that you know what's happening in your life and Megan's life and Emily's life, because our lives are like this. What is something that you are excited about, you know, given what we have and haven't told people, like, happening in 2020?
I'm really excited to see your speaking career take off. I'm so excited for that. And then we have some really cool extra sessions coming up that are going to be a lot of fun.
And the other thing about having Amanda on board is that we've gone through and we have the extra sessions mapped out.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not.
I have the whole year planned
the whole year's
already.
Planned, which is so exciting to have that foresight, because that means we are marketing a full month ahead of time, which gives all of you guys the time to actually sign up and know when the shoots are. When I was running that all by myself, it was like, oh crap, here we go. You know, it was just like I was being reactive instead of proactive. And so now I know, like, you put together a full list of all of the events I've shot. So we're going to reach out and say, hey, do you want to do this again? And that way I have this predictability in my calendar that I've never had before, which allows me to do all of these extra things because we've managed my time better. So I know there's a lot of business owners out there that watch this. And I guess the thing that I want to tell you, the people who are going like this to their email inbox and they're scared to let it go, I get it. It is so personal. And it is hard. We talk every day. And that's just, and I expect that. I think you expect that. Okay. And that's just like learning my voice, learning the things that I need to have. Those are big things. But I found that because you found it important, I knew you knew it was important, so we could work to get a common language together. And I would say if you're at the point where, like, getting into your email makes you want to cry, like, bite the bullet and find somebody. And it did it took me a while to find you. I mean, this is not my first rodeo in the VA zone, and I am very, very grateful that we are together now.
Yes. So, and the key is not to start looking for someone when you are already just so overwhelmed. So you want to start looking for someone before you reach that point of desperation. I mean, still look for someone if you are at that point of desperation, but ideally start slightly earlier. That way you can make a really good decision and not a snap hire that might not serve you well. So
when you also came into, I had standard operating procedures, I had systems, so I was able to take her through of those. Now you've literally updated every single one of those because they changed so fast. But I mean, you got to come into things, but I prepared for you, and then when you came on, I just said, here it all is.
And then I updated as we found things that worked and didn't work, as we got used to our new family of 3 instead of just Whitney and Megan. So.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for popping on today. It was awesome. So if you're getting emails from an Amanda from any of the inboxes that she manages in my life, this is her. You can now have a face to a name and a personality to go along with that. And she is an integral part of our team in making everything happen around here. So we will see you all next week. And I mean, Amanda's in charge of scheduling that too. So she'll be getting us on the calendar.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.